48 minutes in Boston. The two Jays smoke that Philadelphia pack tonight.
Hello, welcome to Basketball Soapbox. This is episode 48. I'm your host, Daniel Daly, and in this one we'll be talking about the Celtics forcing Game 7 and a preview of Game 7 happening on Sunday, the Nuggets advancing to the Western Conference Finals, and that we need to pay them a little bit more respect. Finally, as well as the Phoenix Suns, the future of the Phoenix Suns. And I'm glad I waited a day because we actually got some further developments there that I will discuss later on. But now, first, we're going to talk about the Celtics forcing Game 7 with a 95-86 win in Philadelphia, Game 6 on the road, a big-time game, a battle, test of wills, and probably one of the defining moments of Jayson Tatum's career in terms of just another big game on the road. He started off terribly in the game, 1 for 14 before he started heating up finally in the fourth quarter, but over the course of the game, he was doing other things, rebounding, assisting, and just trying to find a shot throughout the whole night and just couldn't find it. And started off 1 for 14, as I said earlier. And then just finally in the last 4 months, Philadelphia up by a point. And it just felt like the Celtics were I just felt like the game was up for grabs, right? Like in terms of how the game was flowing. The Celtics had a lead early, lost it. Philadelphia came back, and then it was just nip and tuck the rest of the way. In the final 4 minutes of the game, Jayson Tatum was down, not shooting really well, probably the worst shooting performance of his career. Other guys carrying the weight, battling on the defensive end, especially I thought the Celtics did a great job tonight defensively. And Jayson Tatum flipped the script. With 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, just took over with a big step back corner 3 over Embiid. He had a mismatch with Maxey to go down again with another step back 3. Had a pick and roll with Smart to knock down another 3, and just went bananas. Finishing the game 4 for 7 there at the end of the game there with just 4 threes just to put away the game, outscoring Philadelphia in the fourth quarter by himself, 16-13, which was really a testament to Jayson Tatum because he could have easily lost confidence. Obviously has been struggling the past couple of games in this series, really not being able to find his shot. And the ability to do that is just confidence within himself, confidence in his abilities, and the team trusting him, right? They still passed him the ball and still trusted him to make those type of plays. And he delivered. And that's something that big-time players do. That's something that superstars do. And we'll see if he's able to continue that. But just the way he did it, and that was looking very John Starks of the 1994 NBA Finals against Houston, where he just couldn't hit a shot to save his life. It was looking like that. It was on the verge of that, looking really, really bad for Jayson Tatum. And for him to turn around, especially being the Celtics fan, thank God he did, man. Thank God he did. He really stepped up to the plate and really got that done. And let's just talk about another Game 6 heroics here. The steady play of Marcus Smart. I felt like throughout the whole night he played really well, especially in the Game 6 where a big a game type feel, do or die on the road. Marcus Smart was steady throughout the whole game. He had 15 points in the first half. Finished the night with 22, had 7 in the second half, but he also had 7 assists in the second half, which I think doesn't get talked about enough when Marcus Smart is able to make those type of plays and really get other guys involved and keep us afloat throughout that game. I thought him and Malcolm Brogdon did a good job in the first half. And in the second half, Marcus Smart was just doing everything, making steals, battling for the ball, rebounding, passing, typical intangible stuff that Marcus Smart does on a night-to-night basis when everything is going right? He had a couple plays there where it looked like, oh, no. But he was able to save a couple of those and able to turn it around there throughout the game. But that just speaks to what this veteran player does. Like, he's the longest tenured Celtic on the team, and the ability to step up like that when everything was going down. Horford not having the best night offensively. Jayson Tatum certainly not having the best night offensively. And where you really needed to trust certain guys there, Marcus Smart was one of those guys you can trust there and was able to carry the load for the most part of the whole game there before Tatum erupted at the end. But Marcus Smart just doing everything in this game really to give the Celtics the best chance to win, and he was able to do that. And it speaks volumes to how he plays on a nightly basis. Looking at other guys on the team, Al Horford was struggling a little bit. He had to battle Embiid all night, and that was a tough ask for him, but he held up really well. Jaylen Brown was able to in the game, especially at the times when it looked like the Celtics were kind of slipping. He was able to get to the basket, make a couple shots, big-time clutch shots for us. And especially in that third quarter, fourth quarter, like where it was looking like it was getting out of hand a little bit, like the Celtics kind of losing the grip on the lead. But he was able to step up and knock down some shots. But I want to talk about the impact of Robert Williams starting. The Celtics players reportedly urged Joe Mazzulla, hey, yo, we got to play this lineup. This was the lineup last year that really was the staple of the turnaround last year. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, that defensive lineup that really impacted all the areas of the game. And, of course, I think people got a little lost a little bit because Robert Williams had offseason knee surgery, struggled to come back a little bit. They were working him in, had a hamstring injury, and then was relegated to the bench for a while, especially in these playoffs. He's been coming off the bench. And I think people kind of try to crap on Joe Mazzulla a little bit there with basically favoring his offensive lineup, which basically he has used throughout all of the season. Usually a smaller lineup with either White or Small in the backcourt with Brown and Tatum and Al Horford at center. And people were giving him crap for that. And especially in this series, it looked like it wasn't working. But I understand him going to that lineup, right? Like it worked throughout the whole year, right? Like that gave the most maximum ability on the offensive end to score, right? And give guys more space and the shooting and all that. But in this series, the Celtics really haven't shot that well, and they needed the edge there. And for him to go to Robert Williams was a big move that I thought paid dividends. Robert Williams was fantastic in those minutes. They were ramping him up over the course of the season, 15, 20 minutes there and there. Over the course of the playoffs, 15, 20 minutes. But in this game, he had 28 minutes, and I thought that was impressive. 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Just his ability to roam and be put on P.J. Tucker and be able to help out the basket, help Al Horford battle and be down low, and not be a lost man out there basically guarding a shooter or something like that, trying to figure it out. It really paid dividends for the Boston Celtics overall to give them that confidence. Hey, we got another guy there that's actually going to protect the rim. Al Horford has been okay protecting the rim in this series. To have an impact shot blocker like that, like Robert Williams there, even just to deter guys driving to the basket, especially guys like this, fantastic this series. Driving to the basket and finishing, that was a big dividend for the Boston Celtics in this game. And I thought it was the right move for Joe and the Celtics to put Robert Williams in that starting lineup and give them that flexibility up there, especially battling and being like that, to deter guys from getting to the basket and stuff like that. So big kudos to the Celtics overall, just the defensive end and getting back to their calling card, which I feel like they really desperately needed to do. And things are looking good for Game 7, right? We're going back home. Robert Williams most likely going to start. I don't see why you would change that lineup. But now let's look at the Sixers type side of things here, right? James Harden really didn't have a good game in Game 6 there. And it's been up and down series for him. He's had great games, and then he's had really bad games. And the losses, he's not playing really good. And the wins, he's playing really well. He's able to get to the basket, get his step back, get his shots, get to the line, been able to get into the lane. But in those games where he's playing bad, especially like in Game 6, that's tough for Philly, right, to overcome that, right? Like they need him to be 20-10, James Harden at least, in order to beat the Boston Celtics, especially with Joel Embiid and stuff like that. And Embiid, right, like he didn't touch the ball the last 4 minutes of this game, which really impacted him. And he said that in the press conference, the post-game press conference, hey, I didn't get the ball the last 4 minutes of the game. Like, and we're moving the ball and stuff like that, but I'm not getting the ball in the last couple minutes of the game. And I feel like that's something that the Sixers definitely desperately need to look at, especially with the chance there, looking at like it was a blown opportunity. You're up 3-2 at home, things going your way, and your MVP player who you just gave the award to, you don't go back to him. That's tough. That's really tough to look at that way. And that's something James Harden and Joel Embiid need to do. And I think Doc Rivers needs to emphasize that, even though he's been really getting Joel Embiid the confidence and the reassurance that he's that good. Like, right? Like this is Doc Rivers, who is the natural motivator. But in those crucial moments, it's like that ball needs to get to Embiid regardless of whatever the Celtics defense is doing, whatever the case may be. If you need a reset and you need a bucket, especially like they did, I don't think they scored the last 3 minutes of the quarter. You need to get that ball to Joel Embiid. by hella high water that he needs to get the ball. There's no question about that. So looking at it from that perspective of the 76ers, the big adjustment, another adjustment they need to look at is basically PJ Tucker. What are they going to do about him? Because if he's not hitting his shot, how much of a threat is he on the floor, especially if Robert Williams is going to be his defender, right? And when you look at that, if he's not able to hit a shot like that, and he's usually the guy that guards Jaylen Brown and being able to switch on those deep battle, those guys, Jayson and Brown, how is he going to affect it? So that's going to leave them to try to play a shooter, right? D'Anthony Melton, George Niang, guys of that year, can those guys come in and be able to knock down shots? But then on the defensive end, hold up on that end there. That's going to be just solve that problem. How are they going to navigate those fields and those waters? Right? We don't play Brogdon. We know they're going to. That's as we know they're going to play. Those guys, those guys. But with PJ Tucker, who does everything on the defensive end, all the stuff that's the motivational leader for that team, if he's not hitting his shot, it's going to be really difficult for Philadelphia to continue to play him. And especially with Robert Williams on the floor, how are they going to navigate that is a question. And looking at the last league, Doc Rivers, he has not fared too well in game sevens, in elimination games. This is historically, we all know about the Clippers 3-1 blown lead. We know about that. We know about the two of those that have happened. Can he find a way to get these guys ready for game 7 in a hectic Boston environment? And can he navigate that and try to rewrite the script of his story, right? Like, he's been able to be a motivational coach, been able to help guys get to the next level. He's that level of a coach, and I think he's well respected around the league. But these blown leads that keeps happening to Doc Rivers, it's not totally on him, right? It's not entirely on him. Sometimes it's injuries, sometimes it's players, sometimes it's not guys just rising up to the occasion, the players that he has. That's fine, but at some point in time, he's going to have to try to shake this monkey, and I hope it's not game 7, right? I hope the Celtics are able to pull this out. And looking at this game, I think the start of Robert Williams has given the Boston Celtics the edge, right, in terms of especially finding that identity on the defensive end. Because we've seen that times when the Boston Celtics offense has not been the best. And the ability to lean on that defense, especially against the Sixers team who really relies on Joel Embiid and outside shooting, James Harden creating those mismatches and getting into the hoop. How are they going to navigate that if those shots aren't falling in game 7? Joel Embiid should be the steady incubator for them, right? Like the steady force for them to hub, get the basketball to Joel Embiid and let him go and try to work on Horford in the Celtics defense and let him make plays out of the post. Ideally, that's what you want. But how are they going to answer the Robert Williams conundrum? And I think that's the issue that the Philadelphia 76ers have. But looking ahead to game 7, I'm gonna give the edge to the Boston Celtics. I think it's going to be close, nip and tuck a little bit. And then the Celtics are going to be able to pull away, win by 10 to 15 points, and go to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they'll be facing Miami. Hopefully, but we'll see what happens in game 7, which is Sunday at 3:30. Can't wait for that game. Really pumped for that game. Can't wait for it.